a trek to Lowe's. We couldn't find Dad's stripper. We found biodegradable, non-toxic, non-methyl chloride formula. That means it's not going to work, but we're going to try it anyway. Did you bring your cellophane?
Oh no, I left that down there.
Hey, Barb. Would you look that up? Okay. This could be a disaster. We'll give it a whirl anyway.
Well, you got pink stuff coming up already.
Yeah, but I want it to go down to the wood.
No, that's the whole point of letting it set.
Wrap it up.
She's trying to look this up.
Oh, I'm sure that's it.
There you go.
And they need to keep it from drying out. Doesn't have any bad smell to it, so it's not gonna evaporate. Here, pull it tight that way.
Just has to keep the air off of it.
That might work.
Have you got it?
Yeah.
Just cling wrap.
Yeah.
Not what it said?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I just didn't want to melt that plastic onto the surface and then
Be
have
monocoat then.
somebody else, yeah, something else go wrong with it. I thought it was cling wrap from what I remember in the past.
Let's see how long you're supposed to wait. Do not apply on floors or any other large surface. Well, we're not. In case of skin contact, wash immediately. Let's see. Directions. Shake well. Pour into a metal container. Well, plastic will be fine. Apply a thick coat. About 3 foot by 3 foot, brush in one direction. Leave the area and let the stripper work. After 15 minutes, test scrape a small area to see if the finish is ready for removal. Toothbrush or toothpick. You got a toothbrush? Multiple coats for stubborn areas will require a repeat application. Use a clean abrasive pad dipped in after wash or odorless mineral spirits to loosen remaining finish.
I don't have a toothbrush.
I don't know if I got any on me or not. I don't think so.
You have to use like a single edge razor blade or something and scrape it maybe.
Oh, I got some on me. Better get it off for my.
Yeah, don't get that shit all over the workbench and stuff.
You know, play hell
You set the timer.
Yeah.
Nobody would go through this except me.
Well,
2 and 2.
There's a lot of guys on there that rebuild their airplanes, and they have to go through something similar to this in some areas. Or
We're just doing a test piece today to see how easy it's going to be to get off. There's a single edge razor blade. Want to get it all the way down to the wood. It might take a couple
I'd like to
applications.
see that just peel that right off there.
Yeah.
Problem is the top's overlapping the bottom, you know, so you're sort of a little backwards here. It's all right if you could get it started somewhere. The big thing is getting it started somewhere. If you get it started, and then you can. And then once you get this whole thing stripped, you gotta put some kind of neutralizer on it.
You do.
Yeah, it used to be denatured alcohol. I thought that you had to wipe it all down with denatured alcohol to get any little residue of the stripper off there, because otherwise you paint over top of the stripper, what's it gonna do? It's paint stripper, you know.
Yeah.
But it says it's good, it's okay for wood and stuff, and the wood's sealed, so. God, how in the heck can you read that?
I got oglers on.
What did it say you used to neutralize it with?
Clean. Let's see here. It says
They make a neutralizer?
pour metal in metal container. Thick coat with a paintbrush. 3 foot by 3 foot brush in one direction only. Leave on the area and let stripper do the work. After 15 minutes, test scrape a small area to see if finish is ready for removal. Remove loosened finish by gently scrape in one direction with the wood grain with a plastic stripping tool. A stubborn finishes may require repeat application. Use a clean abrasive pad dipped in afterwash or odorless mineral spirits to loosen remaining finish and remove any other residue.
Steel wool or something, then maybe. Because I'd be worrying about that leaving fibers in the wood.
Didn't say anything about putting a thing on it.
No, but that's just something from past experience that I've had with modern day strippers, that it dries out and then you play hell getting the shit off there if it dries on you. Nope. Don't use that box. It's not my trash box, that's my replacement box for my fuel jugs over there, saturated with fuel. Use one of these.
Well, we got 3 and 3. You guys awake?
Probably need a chunk of cardboard or something to scrape that.
You don't have any gloves, do you?
Yeah, I got gloves down in the basement.
I got some at work.
They're throwaways, but they might use them up.
Four and three. Still no chatters. We had no chat revenue today. Means nobody loves me.
Nice, haven't you guys been to McDonald's lately? Haven't you seen how much it costs to eat lunch? Look at this. These are knives that my grandfather made.
Yeah. That's a knife.
Pretty sharp still too. I think he made those at Frigidaire, government job.
That's truthfully smashed it. Probably a bandsaw blade.
I bet you he probably cast those handles himself on there. Yeah, some kind of saw blade that he made that out of, bandsaw or a giant, probably a commercial metal cutoff saw. Might.
I bet it's not gonna remove that silk span. That silk span's got that coating on it. Or, not silk span, Japanese tissue. And not only that, I don't think that's the problem, the Japanese tissue, do you?
I don't know what I'd really like to do is pull that bubble up right there.
It's gonna be paint, it's not gonna be tissue. Take it off. It's paint, isn't it?
Yeah, that almost looks like bare wood right there.
Well, that's good. Except if it's bare wood, you nick it. That blade.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm trying not to do. I'm trying not to nick it, but I wanna leave it like that, and then when you put stripper on there, you got a little edge to work on. You can't tell, cause how many coats of clear dope did you put on the bare wood before you put the tissue paper on?
3. And then 3 on top of the tissue. It might take 2 settings to get this off.
It might. But we'll see, here when that 15-minute comes up, we'll peel that off and we'll take it right and scrape on it and see if we can't get that tissue paper to start in some spot somewhere. I mean, if you dig a little ding in it, well, you superfill it. You're probably gonna have a bunch of them in it anyway.
Well, yeah, there's,
You know, you're gonna, it's a refinish job, so it's gonna be like you build an airplane up to starting to finish, and then you starting to sand the bare wood again, and
there's spots in that need to be repaired, like there's a line right there, these dents right here.
that cut in the top of the wing where Jerry put his finger through it, that could be redone a little better.
And put some super fill on top of it.
All these trailing edges, you can see the grain of the wood in them. Like I said, sand all these, put a nice bevel on all this. All these cap strips a little bit better. That one's really rough. That's not bubbling up there, because this one's not near that rough.
Yeah, it's bubbling.
See, this one isn't here, it's out of the fuel area.
If the whole airplane looked like this, I could live with it.
Well, hell yeah, if it looked like that, I'd take some prep saw, wipe the whole thing down, spray a couple coats of clear on it, and buff it out again. Was that Wix clear?
Oh, yeah. We have the extension cord over here.
Craig said something about not being able to get any super fill anywhere.
All you gotta do is go to the airport. And all the stuff we use is real airplane stuff.
Yeah, I know, but if supplies are out, if it's made in China, who knows where that stuff's made at? Been eating them paint bristles up.
No,
You got about 2 minutes and 15 seconds. For your 15 minutes. You know, it might take, you might find out in the long run it'll take a half an hour. You know, for one coat to do the job, or two coats, a half an hour, but 15 minutes and get some of it off, and then 15 minutes again, and get some of it off again.
well, we're not gonna get this strip today, but
No, you know, it's been a long time since I did any furniture refinishing and stuff like that. And back then you had strippies, which was good stuff. I mean, it would take a motorcycle frame or a mini bike frame, a go-kart frame or something right down to freaking bare wood in a matter of minutes. I mean, you paint that shit on there and you could watch the paint just crinkle up all over the place. And then we just take steel wool or a wire brush or whatever and do it all off and wash it all down with soap and water and you were done.
well, actually, this stuff is pretty potent because you saw me moving it and it started moving paint.
Yeah, immediately. So
Maybe it'll work.
I know exactly what you're in store for here as far as refinishing go, because it's beyond just putting a finish on.
Oh, I know. A lot of work to do.
It's like doing the finish work twice, not including the one that's on it. That'd be 3 times. Got any chats?
No chats. Nobody loves us.
Hello. Only 4 thumbs up. Guys, you got 7 people watching. 4 thumbs up. Let's get some more thumbs up in there. 8 watching now. Picked up somebody else.
There we go.
There's our 15-minute timer. Would be nice if that paper and everything would just peel up.
I'm gonna need some rubber gloves.
Yeah,
though.
I'm gonna go get some.
There it goes. It will come up. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's taking the paper up. That's good. Paper's coming up.
Before you get too adjusted in that.
Better wash this off because this finger's starting to tingle. What? I don't need soap. Just something to neutralize it. I'm curious, how's this going to work? Maybe not.
We're curious too.
Yeah. Gonna strip the whole airplane.
There's a first for everything. We've heard of guys using Dad's stripper, saying it stripped it right down, took the tissue off and everything. Guys doing it. Personally, we neither one have ever used stripper on an airplane.
See that paper coming off.
That's good.
But I think it's gonna take another coat.
Be nice if you could get underneath of it and peel it right up.
Yeah. Like that. Right there. I'm gonna take another coat and let it set. That's what it's gonna take, because I really don't want to scrape it, because you stand a chance of gouging the wood, you know?
Yeah. I don't know that I would scrape it like that, but I'd rather pull it rather than push on it. You're less apt to put any grooves in it.
Little weight reduction here.
See, we used to make like a paint palette for your hand out of a piece of cardboard and scrape the crap off onto it.
Paper's coming up. It's not easy.
Well, you might have to leave it sit on there for 20 minutes instead of 15.
You're standing in front of the camera. Yeah, let's put another coat
So
on it.
you might get it down to that and then lacquer thinner on a rag or a paper towel laid on there might soften that up enough to just peel that paper right off of there. Of course, that's lightweight silk span, so it's gonna rip like wet lightweight silk span.
No, this is Jap tissue.
Well, still.
See, there we go.
Where did the doggone, there we go. As we're stripping everything, the whole airplane. We want it to remove everything. We want tissue and all to go bye-bye. Voila, look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that.
It's exactly what that is. It's that Japanese tissue stuff. So, I'm gonna put another coat on this.
Let it go for 20 minutes, you know.
This was just a test today. Probably won't do anything till next week. Pull it tight. Pull it tight. There you go.
All it has to do is lay on there, just get the hair from touching it. Another 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Timer set. You price them stupid things?
No. $10 box.
Oh, more. $12 box at Harbor Freight. And they won't last very long with that stripper shit either.
Yeah. What'd they say?
Same thing. It started taking that tissue off, but it's still a little bit stuck on there, so we need to put another coat on there and let it sit for another 15 minutes. We might just need to let it sit there longer to begin with, but we'll see. If that's the case, the saran wrap is to keep the stripper from drying out, because if it dries out, then you got a big mess. So basically, it's just an experiment.
There's another one of these silence calls.
Yeah. Telemarketer in your phone's blocked it. See, it's going easy on us today. Normally my home phone, which we don't ever use, we don't even give out the phone number to anybody, never have. We get hundreds of phone calls a day on that phone.
Mary Sue Swafford. I don't know her. Let's see what you have to say. It's a disconnected number, I'll bet.
Uh-huh. Yep.
The wireless customer you are calling is not available. Please try again.
Well, you must not want to be contacted. Probably a realtor or Spectrum. I'm your Spectrum dealer. That's funny. I get phone calls from this one place, and the stuff's not even in my name. It's in Barb's name. And they call me on a telephone, and our phone numbers don't even. Rob is taking the tissue up on the stab, but it's still stuck down pretty good because that tissue paper was put on there wet and rubbed into the finish below it. So it started taking paint off as soon as he was wiping it with the brush. He could see the paint coming off on the brush as he was putting the stripper on it. So it's working. Most of these new strippers, they don't have the active ingredients anymore that the old strippies and stuff like that used to have. I can remember when strippies first came, well, not when it first came out, but when I first started using it, it was really good. And then they changed their formula to some safer formula, and it didn't work worth a crap. You'd have to put it on 5 or 6 times, take the paint off a mini bike or a go-kart frame or whatever, and it didn't bubble up the same way. It didn't do that old strippies. You paint it on there, and in a matter of 5 minutes, that paint was all crinkled up and.
So this is just a test to see how it's going to work.
Messy.
Yeah, messy test. Because I would like to save this airplane.
I do know guys that stripped them with lacquer thinner and rags. Lots of rags and lots of lacquer thinner and outside in the summer and just put it on
It don't
soaking
smell
wet
bad.
rag and.
There's not really any smell to it.
No, it's not too bad, not too hateful. I bought them paintbrushes at Harbor Freight. They sell them little boxes of them.
I'm gonna take that one from you. I'll take it home, and tomorrow I may put it out in front and paint some on it. Let it sit outside in the sun.
Yeah, Rob, we know aircraft stripper the best stuff. Yeah, that's the best stuff you can get right now. That'll take Emron and everything off. It'll really do the ticket, but
We ain't got it.
it's sort of pricey and it's hard to get, and Might have to go to an automotive paint store or something like that to get that kind, or an aircraft supply house, maybe Wix or something to get that. But we're trying to get things done with local supplies somehow.
Shit, this was still $20 for a quart.
Yeah, aircraft strippers probably twice that. But then again, the aircraft stripper's made for metal, so I'm not so sure. This stuff says it's made, yes, but it's very expensive. So it might not be so hot on wood. You know, this stuff says it's safe for wood, so.
Doesn't raise the grain.
Yeah, right. Anything wet raises grain. Whatever you clean it with will raise the grain. Whatever you neutralize it with.
You got any alcohol here?
Sometimes you can get the chat up on replay. I do that at home. Sometimes I can get chat and sometimes I don't. When I watch it after it's all over with, I got some lacquer thing.
Supposed to
I don't
neutralize
have any denatured alcohol in that thing.
capsule fuel.
Xylene. Oh, denatured alcohol.
Don't need much, just enough to wipe it down with. Yeah, I hope you get it right down to the wood. Clean strip, boy, same stuff. That's an old can.
Yeah, a can probably costs $3.75, so then $14.95 now.
Probably more than that.
Is it a setting thing? I don't know what you mean by that.
No. Sometimes it'll go and sometimes it doesn't. Depends where I'm streaming from. I need to buy them cameras I was talking about. It's $1,000. So if you guys want to chip in.
It would help if I had a booster out here in the garage, because you got all that ductwork in the house and pipes and all electrical wiring and all that stuff, and the router's in the far end of the house, the opposite other end of the house. So
No, they're talking about the chat.
oh,
See, I can't change the settings from the phone, but if I do that Movo or Mevo, I can change the settings and run that camera off the internet, you know. But it's $1,000. So go to Stunt Hanger and donate. Check for the motors. Kevin Howling.
I sent you an email yesterday.
Yeah.
Or a text message or something, Kevin.
Motors are on their way. You'll get them.
He said he'll look. They're still here. They haven't gone anywhere.
Where are we at? About 4 minutes?
Yeah, 4 minutes and 10 seconds. Do you have a good time up there selling your autoclave to them people?
Got an autoclave, should be making props for pipes.
Whole airplanes.
Yeah. How big autoclave?
He makes big ones. He makes anything from a tabletop up to one you could put your whole self in or bigger.
Is that the guy that we met down here?
From Columbus, Rob
That's
Young.
Kevin Howling?
No, Rob Young.
Oh, Rob.
He's a Columbus guy. Joe Reinhardt and all those guys up there. Joe get healed up from his endeavors last year? You're welcome, Kevin.
About 2 minutes yet. We'll take this up and see what happens.
Kevin and I talked on the phone the other day for about 2 hours.
Yeah.
Had a real pleasant conversation about modeling and stuff and various other things. Very personable guy. Can't tell people's personalities and without hearing the tone of their voice and whatnot. He's about our age. Kevin's about our age.
Old.
Yeah, getting there.
Anybody does this.
I think the average age of the person that does this anymore is 60.
Yeah.
Anyway. Maybe 50, I'd say 55 to 95.
There ain't a whole lot of 40-year-olds or 30-year-olds or 20-year-olds doing this. Not like there was in the 60s.
Always try to figure out how to get kids, but you can't get kids in it unless you get the parents involved. And you got to get the parents involved in it. That means if you can get to schools and get stuff into schools, you've got the best chance by doing that in order to get kids involved. But then you've got to be able to get the teachers or the principal or somebody at the school involved in it.
My high school teacher flew airplanes.
My 6th grade teacher, he became the principal of the grade school after I graduated. And then when my kids went to the same school, they had him as a principal. It's going to go off here in a second. He was into airplanes and stuff like that. And when I was flying them little 049s in the school parking lot, he was out there watching and checking things out. And we had model day where me and I had 2 other guys that flew with me, and we brought our airplanes in and had a show and tell thing during class in school. And but believe it or not, it was still just us 3 guys flying model airplanes, and that's 50 years ago. 50 plus years ago. Ah, look at that. Ain't that sweet? That's because the tops overlap the bottom.
Yeah.
Here, Robert, put that box on top of this box.
Look at that, came right off. There we go. There we go. That's what we want to see.
Look at that, peeling that stuff off in one big sheet.
That's what we want to see. I'm excited now. I might stay and do some more.
Kevin said he had U control in high school. That's good. That's nice. We had a shop teacher that was pretty open to stuff. And I used to take airplanes in there and work on them in shop class. U control. I see. We didn't have an actual class, but that'd be neat if they would do that. I think one of the big problems, and I really do believe this wholeheartedly, and I think Sparky's on my side on this one too, is that when we grew up, planes, trains, and automobiles was the thing. It was like the American thing, you know, and planes were still pretty new, and jets were just starting to come around a little bit, and you still had a lot of prop-driven airplanes, and P-51s were the best thing since sliced bread, and Stearmans and the barnstormers and stuff were still sort of a big thing, and kids got into that stuff back then. And you know, they worked with their hands, they had arts and crafts, and they didn't have all these stupid computers to sit on their butt and do nothing with. You know, we got up, we got out, we did things, and you know, mom and dad would kick us out of the house at 9 o'clock in the morning and says, I don't want to see you until the street lights come on, you know, and we go walk through farmers fields and go back and play in the woods and build tree houses and shoot frogs with our BB guns, and you know, just have a grand old time. Now, heck, now if they saw you carrying a BB gun across the field, you'd go to jail for it, probably. Yeah. I mean, the best thing you can do to your kids, for your kids or with your kids or whatever, is to get them hands-on with something.
Might want to put denatured alcohol on one.
Let me bust this cigarette out before I...
Actually, I'm excited about this. This is all right. I mean, it's gonna take some sanding and some working, but boy, it sure came off right down to the wood. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side.
I mean, you're still gonna have to do a lot of sanding and stuff, but by God, if you can get the majority of that stuff off the easy way.
Well, I have a better chance of not gaining weight by getting everything off.
Yeah. And that should take off some of that stuff that's on the wood too, you know, your 3 base coats. Which is fine. Yeah, Kevin, I lived on the outskirts of a little teeny town, little podunk, little teeny town. Didn't even have a traffic light in it, and I walked out of my backyards, and it was about 400 or 500 yards of farmers' fields, and then it was woods for you get lost in it. And we had out in this one field there was maybe about 50 yards diameter. There was a little clump of trees, and that's where all of us kids would go hang out. We had a tree house that we built back there that was about 30 feet up in the top of this big giant oak tree, and we had a rope swings and grapevines that we swung from and played around. We'd go back there and play iron. We used to call that Groundhog Hill because it was loaded with groundhogs back there. As we got older, we got our 22 rifles out and stuff, started killing all the groundhogs for all the farmers around the area and stuff that had cattle and horses and stuff.
We did a nice job sanding that.
I can't remember what the population was in that town, but it was probably more than 650. But my mom and dad went to school there, and then all of us kids went to school there up through the 6th grade.
Hold this for bouncing, would you?
Born in Whittier. He was fortunate.
He was born when?
At Whittier, where Whittier Narrows is, I guess.
Yeah, Whittier Narrows. My Uncle Kenny's buried in, what the hell's the name of that cemetery? Forest Lawn. He'll know where that is.
Know where Forest Lawn is?
Overlook.
Cemetery over there.
Overlooks Whittier Narrows. When I grew up in West Covina, the farmer had the corner house, and it was acres and acres and acres of strawberries.
We had a lot of soybeans and turnip fields, lots of turnip fields, and then corn. And we used to Mom would drive down the roads out in the country, and she could spot a wild asparagus growing from a moving car doing 40 miles an hour. She'd slam on the brakes and jump out and cut that asparagus.
Now, the same place where I live has acres and acres and acres of Mexicans.
Here, hold on to this. This stuff won't rip off of there, right? This stuff will stick to itself better than anything. Yes, sir. Let's set that thing for 20 minutes. How's that? Sound good?
Yeah, it's fine. It's gonna take several settings. We'll do this last one, and I'll go home. Shit. I'll get you some more gloves.
Yeah, you're gonna go through
A box.
a couple rolls of paper towels and a bunch of razor blades and a whole bunch of rubber gloves. It'll eventually, I've used that stuff enough recently that these little rubber gloves like this don't hold up real long. I mean, you may be able to put them on a couple times, but then eventually they'll start eating holes in them. Well, they'll just like sort of disappear. Or crack, they'll crack real easy.
What do you think? This is standing really nice, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, And we'll discuss some stuff later. Those were the days, my friend. Back then we thought they'd never end, but boy, how time flies.
Yeah.
When I was 14 years old, I could walk out my door with a 30-30 and a box of bullets, and Mom wouldn't blink an eye about it, and I'd go out in the field and sit out there and shoot groundhogs.
You'd be arrested now.
And everybody was the good for it.
PETA would get you. The cops would get you.
This is stripped down right here. If you can see this right here, that's stripped down to wood. There's no tissue paper on that or anything. There's probably a little bit of dope still on it, but that's fine. Mander, that'll come off of there with some sanding and cleaning. And
Well, that didn't do bad. Uh-oh.
no, we left it on for 15 minutes the first go around, and then scraped the paint off of it, and we put another coat on, let it go for another 15 minutes, and then the paper and stuff started coming out. So this side we're gonna let go for 20 minutes,
Yeah.
and see what happens then.
You can't tell what the stab looked like with such a glare. Okay. It looks like that.
It looks like it's never been painted.
Yeah. It looks like balsa wood.
That's what you wanted, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Exactly. We want the whole airplane to look like that.
Now you're.
Yeah.
After a whole lot of mess.
I'm sure it's gonna take.
Listen, I've.
Tom Creasy.
Enough furniture that-
Man, you're back. You're still alive.
All the woodwork
Tom
in
Creasy's
that other
back.
house.
Tom Creasy, hey Tom! The 59-cent paint job guy. Just kidding you.
What's the name of the
It's a
stripper?
neat little invention.
Stripper is clean strip, premium stripper.
We're gonna let this side go for 20 minutes instead of 15 and see if we can't get all the way down through the silk span.
On the first go around.
Tom, we've been wondering about you, bud. How you been doing? Haven't heard from you or seen you or anything.
I'm sure he's building another warbird.
Yeah. It was pretty ingenious what he did, where he mixes that acrylic enamel or whatever art paint with dope and gets a pretty damn nice
The
finish.
stuff that
mean,
I'm spraying t-shirts with and monkeying with, that's automotive grade acrylic. I mean, it might work on this. I'm not gonna try it, but it might.
I'd like to know how you mixed it, Tom, whether you just took straight thinner or something and put in the paint, the acrylic paint first, or what did you do? Being busy is an understatement. How did you mix your paint? You did a lot of experimentation with that. What was the final outcome of how you mixed it and what you added to what? And P-40s are good flying birds. Yeah, they are.
Yep, I'm gonna open this up right here.
Yeah, do it
Cut
all
through the
from
sheeting, look
underneath.
inside there. See what's going on, lube it up.
Make sure you do it where you can get to both ends of the bell crown. Because you need to get to both of those little teardrops in there.
About right there.
You can base that off of that post whenever you get to that post. Tom says he's finally got a shop built. Now building another P40. Cool. .3608 thinner, and then shake the hell out of it and make sure room temperature is below 75 and low humidity. Did you add any clear dope to it at all, or just use thinner on the... He said he was on the hangout last night. I wasn't on the hangout last night, Tom. I haven't even watched it. Steve Barry just gave $5. We still love you, Sparky.
Who did that?
Steve Barry.
Hey, thanks, Steve, for the super chat. Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I made a statement on the earlier John's Saturday at John's. I want to say it again. Somebody made a comment on the hangout 2 nights ago or on Friday night about I'm jumping all over the place. I cannot paint in my apartment. So if you're looking for the Cobra finish, that's going to have to be done over here. I cannot paint in the apartment. And I'm sorry if you can't watch Saturday at John's. There's always the rerun.
Yeah, I always get back. I do that a lot of times myself. I don't watch it live, any of it.
Especially when you're live.
You know, about once every 5th episode that you put up on there, I'm actually on there live. Otherwise, I'm doing something else, and I just watch it later after it's over with.
Well, I don't know anything anyway. Nothing that you don't know, so it don't matter.
Yeah, and all I do is I irritate you because I bust your ass on there. Just thinner, he says. Only thinner, no clear dope. Cool.
Well, I got Trident paint and I got Createx urethane acrylic.
Is there a specific brand that you're using?
He's probably using Apple Blossom.
That could be.
Apple Blossom's craft paint.
Low temperature is the key. Coming out of the spray gun, the paint dries so quickly. Well, yeah, with it all that thinner in it. The slower, the thinner you can use, the better. 3608 is a pretty sort of a medium fast thinner. I think they are 3608S. If you can get it, is sort of slow. Apple Blossom, yeah.
Yeah. That's 50 cents a piece at Walmart.
Yep.
I got probably 50 colors.
I mean, you might try a slower thinner. Go to the auto shop and see if there's a slower thinner than that 3608S. You know, as long as it's a lacquer
Apple barrel,
thinner.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or you might take that and put it in clear dope.
Yeah, that probably wouldn't hurt matters. It might make it a little more opaque.
It'll be shiny.
You might add maybe not some all thinner, just add a little bit of clear dope, you know, a quarter of clear dope and then 60% of thinner.
Where are we at on time?
9 minutes and 55 seconds.
9 minutes yet, guys, before we reveal the that thing. I think it's going to work good.
I mean, once you set your mind to getting dirty, you know what I mean, and making a mess, then you just put them to the wall.
It didn't get the paper off here. There's a line of paper up here yet.
Yeah, Tom said he never thought of slower thinner, but yeah, they make thinners in all sorts of things. Like MEK is thinner, but it's super fast. You know, super hot thinner. 3608S is a medium slow.
Put some retarder in it too, but I would put clear dope and make it shiny.
Yeah, it would add a little gloss to it. Of course, Tom does a lot of military paint jobs, so he probably doesn't care about it being a little dull. Locks it down with clear, and then he starts his masking his design. And you hadn't had any problems with the clear over top of it, probably because you used the dope thinner, the same thinner for your other colors, or your clear. I had a problem. They changed 3608S. They changed it, and it doesn't perform the same. The last time I used it,
They got together with Sherman-Williams and changed the formula.
yeah, and I painted the plane. I was hoping to be gloss, and I used that thinner, and it came out sort of matte. I could not make a gloss come out in it. I buffed and buffed and buffed and sanded and buffed, and it just stayed sort of flat.
I think it's gonna take 2 go-arounds anyway on this. Where are we at? Are we at 15 minutes yet?
Oh, in 7 minutes and 49 seconds.
No. You said it at 20, right? So
Yeah.
2 minutes would be 15. He said he never had a problem spraying dope over the paint.
As long as you stick with a universal thinner throughout the whole thing, don't change thinners at all, ever.
Use some Aerogloss over the top of it, see how that works.
Well, you can't get thinner for it.
Maybe we use some matte stripper on there.
Well, everybody was talking about that dad's thinner a while back, or dad's stripper and stuff like that. We tried to find it local, and we couldn't find it, but
Nope. It's gonna take 2 go-arounds.
what's everybody using now for easy sanding primer? Nothing.
Yeah, not using primer
We're not
anymore.
using primer anymore. All clear dope. Just keep putting dope on, sand it, dope on, sand it until you get a smooth finish. But we've got a 25.5 pound gallon of primer over here.
Yeah.
It was sort of funny. Danny was over here one day, and Sparky holds this can of thinner up, or primer up to Danny, and says he's holding it at his arm's length. He's sweating, holding it out there, acting like he didn't weigh anything. He handed it to Danny like it took him to his knees. Dang, what's in that, lead? First plane finish was 16 ounces. Wow. Yeah, it would be a good project for the stripper. You need to get that down to about 6 ounces, 10 at the most.
This was a 6-ounce finish on this airplane.
And that is a full-size 60-inch wingspan airplane.
Yeah. Gonna try to do it again.
Believe me, that ain't an easy paint job to achieve.
And try to do it again.
Yeah, I know you're using water-based poly, but it's probably heavier than dope because
More pigment.
yeah, it's got more hardeners in it and fillers and whatever. You might not be able to get down unless you can reduce it, with water. You say it's water-based. You might try reducing it, 25 or 30%, maybe even 50%, and putting on 2 coats instead of 1 or whatever, and let it build up slow like that. DC 540 sucks. They changed the formula.
Yep.
Can't get it anymore. The new stuff doesn't work worth a crap.
Nope. Junk.
It's environmentally safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, they Californiaized it.
Where are we at? Right. What? Take it off? What's that timer say, Barb?
It'll go off when it's done.
Oh. What?
What number does it say
That
on it?
was awful.
346.
Never use water-based ever. Well, what does the regular paint say you can clean your paintbrushes out with? I bet you it says water. On
Yeah.
all that acrylic enamel is all water-based stuff, so you can thin that with water. But you know, you're substituting the water for lacquer thinner. That's why everybody was skeptical about your paint jobs, because you were mixing a water-based product with lacquer-based products, which live and learn. That's why you're really critical on moisture and temperature and everything on that too. And it probably blushes real easy because you're actually, you know, got a water-based product in there in the mix. Probably why it dries flat too. Is, you know, sort of a blush, you know, matte finish.
Yep.
You can make it shinier, you know, by putting clear over top of it. That'll definitely make it shinier. You know, just regular clear dope with regular dope thinner. As long as you keep the same brand of thinner you started off with, don't use like Sig thinner or Brodak thinner and 3608S. Use all 3608S or all Brodak or the exact same thinner through the whole process. Sort of neat, but if you could tint the clear with that stuff and not have adverse reaction,
That'd be the way to go.
you could save quite a bit of money. I mean, because color dopes aren't cheap. I mean, it's what, $30 a quart?
Well,
a pint.
That paint that I bought,
45.
the automotive acrylics, is $10 for 2 ounces.
Yeah. Pretty. That's what you're gonna spray paint t-shirts with.
Yeah. Createx or Trident. $10, 2 ounces. What was that? Bing.
Temperature change. Something. Cans are expanding and contracting.
Where we at?
23 seconds. 18, 17, 16.
So that was 20 minutes on there. We'll see if it takes the paper up. I bet it's not going to. Gonna take a second coat. You have to hold it.
It's still 20 minutes, no matter how you do it.
Yeah, we get the gloves on. On the way back, I'll start by Hardly Freight. Buy a box. These things are so cheap.
When he gets a better flyer, he'll change his setup.
Do what?
He says when he gets to be a better flyer, he'll change his setup. He's still a beginner. Next week, he'll be ready to paint his new bird.
Next week you're gonna be an expert, Tom? Flying open?
I'll tell you what, Tom. Can you fly inverted?
Give me a paper towel.
The difference between beginner and intermediate is flying inverted. That's about the only difference. The rest of the big pattern is only change in it is a couple extra maneuvers that are just combination of the round loops and square loops that you do in beginner.
I like how to take the paper off.
Well, yeah, the paper is coming up. You can fly inverted. Well, yeah, Tom. Tell you out there.
Time to move up.
Time to grow a set. Sorry, I'm just teasing you. I know what it's like. It can be a tough transition. It took me the longest time to learn how to fly inverted, and I'll tell you what, I crashed up a bunch of airplanes.
I need another paper towel.
As this episode wants him to start stripping his airplane. Well, jump on it. Time's wasting.
Yeah, we're gonna have to put another coat on this.
I told Barb we was gonna go to Ace Hardware and look for Dad's stripper. She says, Dad's stripper? I says, yeah, she's over there in that red light area of the hardware store. Kevin says he just loves building and flying, make your own pattern. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. There's a place in this sport for everybody. Not everyone is a contest person, and some people just like the sport flying. And I know a guy that all he ever did for 50 years was fly level and do loops. He held the record for the most loops of any club member in one flight. He had something like 50, these are all inside loops, never an outside loop. He had 53 or 54, I think,
Hold this from bouncing.
consecutive inside loops. Oh, yeah. When you guys see that tissue paper coming up there, his hands are probably in the way. It's still stuck pretty good because it's making that sort of a noise that where's, but boy, it is coming up for sure. Maybe that's just the noise of it ripping on itself. Yep. And you see that big sheet of silk span coming off there? That's Japanese tissue. Yeah, clean stripper. We showed it once before a little while ago. There it is again.
We're not an expert at this. This is the first time I've ever done this in my life.
It's an experiment.
Total experiment.
If you ever used stripper before, there's one thing, a word of caution here. Don't get any more on the bare wood than you absolutely have to. And you need to neutralize the whole surface area after you've used this stuff. So that means you got to go over it with denatured alcohol or some kind of neutralizer. They make a stripper neutralizer too.
I'm gonna get some of that.
You gotta make sure you get all that stripper off, or you could have paint problems again at your new finish.
So I'm not gonna wait as long. We'll wait 10 minutes. I'm gonna put another coat on it. Get the cling wrap.
Well, you're down to bare wood now, aren't you?
There's still some stuck on it.
This stupid stuff don't work worth crap.
Probably gonna need another quart of this stuff too. For the whole airplane. I don't know. This has went pretty far.
You might be able to put it on a little thinner than you are when by putting that plastic on there. And they have you put it on there thick so it doesn't dry.
Yeah. Wait 10 minutes. Then I'll neutralize that and call it a day. This is not going to be an easy task. Take several weeks.
No, it's gonna be time consuming, but like you say, it's like putting two finishes on the airplane. You gotta take a whole finish off, prep the airplane again, and put a whole finish back on, so be 3 times. Be prepped twice, finish on it 3 times.
The only advantages I have, do you think there's tissue still on this? Or do you think that's down to wood?
I think it's down to wood.
That's finished pretty damn
You
good.
didn't put 2 layers of silk man on it, did you?
I don't think so.
He says they'll be curious to see how it works on epoxy. Some of them strippers say that they'll strip epoxy paint.
But we're going to find out how it works on urethane because the nose on this airplane is urethane.
Yeah, it says it'll work on urethane too, but the only thing that's exposed as epoxy is superfill fillets, which if it takes the fillets out, that's fine. And put in new fillets, which you probably want to anyway because you got your tissue paper running underneath your fillets.
Yeah, I'll probably cut them out anyhow.
Yes, we could do more areas on the plane as we wanted to, but this is just an experiment for right now. We didn't want to make a big gigantic mess. Sparky's got to take this airplane back home with him, so
Next week, if we're down here,
we'll put that stuff on half the airplane and let it sit. Do half the airplane at a time. We just didn't want to get involved. It's late in the afternoon. It's something that you want to start early in the morning. You started early in the morning. If we'd done this first thing in the morning, we might have had damn near the whole airplane stripped by now. Do you think it'll make the epoxy sticky? We don't know.
don't know anything. First time.
Not too many fumes at all. No, doesn't stink like old strippies or anything like that. In fact, I don't really notice much smell in here
Can't
at all.
smell it at all. Dope is way stronger.
Yeah, dope is 100 times stronger. I mean, there is a little bit of a smell to it, but it isn't overbearing at all. Denatured alcohol smells worse.
3:41. You didn't start the timer again, did you?
Yeah.
10 minutes?
Yeah. I'm gonna press start. Yeah, you got 6 minutes and 48 seconds. So
We'll
that's
pull that up and put the denatured alcohol on it. That'll neutralize it for the evening. I'll take it home and maybe tomorrow, depending on the weather, I'll take it out front of the apartment and put some on and
all an experiment. So certain things we don't know how it's going to affect or whatever. Don't get it on any rubber products. Don't get it on your motor. Strip your airplane down, all that stuff before you go using this up around in that area would be highly advisable. It may react really negatively to aluminum or something like that and turn it black or some ungodly, unsightly mud brown color or something. He's definitely going to do this overweight paint job airplane, which is fine. Great, jump on it.
who said that?
Tom Creasy.
You gonna have an overweight paint job?
He had an airplane with a 16-ounce paint job.
Oh, take it or strip it off.
Strip it off. I mean, it's not too bad, but you got to be in the right mindset. Start this early in the morning. Start stripping it. Be prepared to get dirty. Have your 2 or 3 rolls of paper towels, a box of rubber gloves, a little glass pickle jar or something, or olive jar or something. Put the stripper in so it's easy to handle. Harbor Freight sells some real cheap little throwaway brushes. I don't like starting big projects late in the afternoon because I end up having to stop them by the time I get tired. And I'm ready to roll things up, so I start things early in the morning. I know that we could do this whole airplane in a day
Oh yeah.
with 2 of us working on it. And we put stripper on that whole bottom half of that wing, and in a matter of 2 hours, we'll have that whole bottom of that wing done.
Mm-hmm.
2 hours for the top. There's 4 hours. Another 2 hours for the fuselage. That's 6 hours. 8 hours, you could strip that whole airplane down.
Which is really 16.
Which
Two
is
guys.
16 because you got 2 guys working. Yeah. So I mean, even one guy, if he got real ambitious and put a lot of that on, put that clean. This is just Glad saran wrap. That's all it is. Saran wrap, cling wrap, whatever you want to call it. It's not the self-adhesive stuff. It's just the stretch and stick stuff. And you put that over top of it. It keeps the paint stripper from drying out. It keeps it wet. And it keeps it active for longer. That's, whatever you do, you don't want to let that stuff dry.
Is that the alarm?
Paul Covey says he passed through Brodak's hobby shop Saturday. $37 a gallon for fuel. Kits are 50% more. Supply problems, he says. So I would, if you're going to Brodak this year, there might not be a whole lot of stuff to be picking through outside of cottage industry stuff.
Did the alarm go off?
No, that was a message on mine.
$37 a gallon for fuel, huh?
Yeah.
That ain't happening.
8 minutes and 10 seconds left.
I got about 4 gallon left.
I got 1, 2. I probably got 4 or 5 gallons, but I'm gonna dump that big thing out into jugs, and I'm gonna go have Bill make me up another 4 or 5 gallons.
Well, when you do, let me know and I'll have him make me some. How much do you think it'll be? $100?
Well, you get methanol's probably gone up, so whatever we paid the last time, which was $12 or $14 a gallon or something like that, it's probably gonna be more than that.
Well, we get it for $20 a gallon. That's doable too. I mean,
Tom's the early bird. Yeah, Tom, are you as early as me? I get up about 2:30 in the morning every day.
yeah.
Well worth the time to save the plane. It only has a couple dozen flights. You betcha. It is. I'll tell you what, it's sort of discouraging to have a problem like that happen to you. And I've had it happen to me. I think everybody out there has painted their own airplanes, ended up with a turd. But live and learn, it's all part of learning. And this refinish job, 10 years ago, this airplane would have been trashed. I sold it to somebody.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't even have done this. I'd rather, this takes as much work as building a whole nother airplane, probably by the time it's all over with and a new paint job's on.
Of course, I don't know if my sand job comes out that nice. It won't be that far off.
No, but the thing that where you gain weight, and we've talked about this, and Robert's talked about this before on the show, is that when you refinish these airplanes, they always come out heavier. And the reason for that is that you can't strip the dope out of the wood. Whatever soaks into that wood, you can't get it out of there. So that is why your paint job will come out, 1 or 2 ounces heavier than the original paint job typically.
Hope not.
But you got to be mindful when you're putting the base coats of dope on. If you put that first coat on this stripped finish and it looks like the third coat of a standard finish,
Don't put another one on.
don't put another one on. If it'll stick down the silk span good with just one coat on, that's it, because you already got your soaked in coats in there. They're not coming out. It don't matter what you do. You're not getting that dope out of the bare wood. Yeah, see, that is bare wood. You can feel the grain. This is the second coat of this stuff on this, and that's the rest of the tissue paper's coming off. You're right. Thank God you got kits and balsa wood and supplies and stuff, and everything's going to go up. Even these cottage industries, you're not going to get the same price. They're going to have to go up too, because their supplies that they use to make their stuff are going up. So it's going to hit everybody pretty hard. In fact, what it might do, it might kill some cottage industries, because guys won't buy a belt crank anymore. They'll build their own belt crank. It'll cost as much as the old belt crank that they used to buy, but they'll build it instead of buying it. And that's what they always did, pretty. We build anyway. Yeah, I mean, that's the whole part of it. Look at, there's tissue right there. I can see it bubbling up. Oh, yeah, I like it. And it also goes for anything else, not just kits and stuff like that. If you need anything and you think you're going to need something down the road, you best be getting on it and buying it right now, whether you think you can or you can't. Because it ain't going to do nothing but get worse.
That's why I think I'm going to buy the Amiibos tonight.
And if you watch things, if you've been watching as prices go up in the past, they raise these prices and they never seem to go down. They raise them real fast and it takes forever for them to come back down, if they ever do come back down. And certain things won't. I mean, and certain things are only going to come down a little bit, and then that's going to be that.
It's denatured alcohol.
Hold down can.
Open it. Right.
I have to cut that damn thing off there. I can see that.
Yeah, I'll buy that strip neutralizer and all that shit on the way home, and get me some gloves, or maybe tomorrow, I don't know.
I would still wipe that down with denatured alcohol, even if you use that strip stuff after you use it. Well, you might want to pick you up some pipe cleaners and
I can use my old toothbrush, seeing as I don't have any teeth to brush.
get down in them hinges and stuff.
Well, it doesn't attach the superfill. What we got here? What's going on here?
I threw a box full of bell cranks in the dumpster. What size bell cranks are they? 3-inch or 4-inch? I don't hardly ever use 3-inch bell cranks anymore. Even if they came with 3-inch bell crank, I put a 4-inch bell crank in it. I put a 4-inch bell crank in a half A airplane once. Yep, Kevin, you're absolutely right. So everything's gonna go up. And look at this, you got Tom Dixon sells Stalker engines and those things. Those all came from the Ukraine. Well, they are no more. And neither are the parts. And how quickly things can change, not just by inflation, but by other means.
Not gonna be more any at Stinkos.
Nope. In fact, I heard their plant got bombed. They had 3 people died or something. Various sizes. He's on the road. Got maybe 15 or 20. Well, that's good. I mean, it depends on what kind of airplanes you fly. You know, if you're flying 35 or 15 size airplanes to 35, then you'll use 3-inch bell cranks. And 335 size airplanes, I start changing, depending on the plane, up to 4-inch bell cranks. Slow the controls down. That's the problem with a lot of those airplanes like Ringmasters and stuff like that, is their controls are too fast. You need to slow them way down. So you got to use the innermost bell crank hole, and a 4-inch bell crank slower than a 3-inch bell crank. And if you did a combination of all that stuff, you might not have to put an 1.25 inch elevator horn in it to slow down even more.
Well, got that stripped off. Don't let me forget my sandpaper downstairs.
No, we got a bag down there and sandpaper and I don't know what else you got. Well, this experiment. We'll see you, Tom. Have a good one. The brass bushing in most of them, so they're aluminum belt crank or stainless steel belt crank or whatever. They're probably might be old perfect belt cranks. They're okay, but make sure you bush your lead outs correctly.
Well, so far the experiment was a success. I mean, it won't know till it's finished, but success enough that it got the paint off.
Got the paint off and the silk span off. That's what you was after.
I could have been sanding forever.
You know, the grain didn't raise much on this and probably won't because you already got dope down in the wood. It'll raise a little bit, but the big thing is you gotta get all that crap out of those.
Yeah.
That's why I said get you a whole ship pot full of pipe cleaner.
Toothpicks, pipe cleaners. Whole fuselage, whole wing.
Snap your fingers.
Yeah. I could do that through the magic of editing if we didn't do this live.
Let's go, Brandon. That's right, Kevin.
Yeah, Brandon's the greatest. some people, how you liking your $5 a gallon gas now?
How you liking everything that this guy's done for our country?
I love those decals. Joe Biden pointing at the gas price. I did this. And don't believe that nonsense. This is Putin price hike because it's not. So what do you think? You think it'll be all right?
Yeah, I really do. When you get this all done, all stripped, and maybe sanded a couple times, before you sanded it, I would go over it 2 or 3 times with alcohol. And I'll let it all dry off, go over it again, make sure you get every little nook and cranny cleaned out. And it's going to be a lot of work getting it ready for paint again, and that'll be the hard part. You know, you can fix all this up when you're doing all that. And
Fix all this hanger rash.
yeah. It'll be more work putting a finish back on this than it will be a new plane.
Yeah, because they got to take it all off.
No, I mean, even after that, you get this stripped at the bare wood, from the bare wood back to a new finish again will take longer than the original airplane because you got to do so many cleanings and all that stuff and little nitpicky things that you got to dig the fillets out of it. That'll be time consuming as hell.
Nah, motor tool. Grind them out.
Yeah, you got to be really, really careful.
It won't get much back in it, that's for sure. I mean, these aren't big fillets. Let's see how bad it looks on top. Oh, God.
Help me out a lot. I have 2 planes I have to do.
Who's that?
What do you mean you have, Kevin? What do you mean you have to do? You're going to strip 2 airplanes, or you have to build 2 airplanes?
If you have to strip 2, you better just build 2. Only reason why I'm refinishing this airplane is this is a 1 in a million airplane. It flies so good.
Well,
Oh,
And it only weighs 57 ounces.
yep.
weighs less now.
Yeah, but it'll weigh more than 57 ounces when he gets it back up to a finish like that again.
No, when it gets there, I quit painting.
Well, yeah, you have been known to do that before.
But I get to fix all this stuff here too. Where Jared poked a hole in it. I repaired this. I'm not poking a hole in the silk span until we're ready to do it because I don't want to look at it on the wall with a hole in it.
I know what you mean.
I don't like this part, to be honest with you.
Yeah, wipe all that stuff off of it. You don't want to be getting that all over everything in the shop and,
Give me paper towel.
hand transferring it to something else. It'll get on a tool and then it'll get on another airplane and then you look at it and say, what happened there? Paint stripper happened, that's what happened. You ever play that game in school back when you was a kid where they put that invisible stuff on your hands and you can only close under a black light and they let you run around and play all day long, and then at the end of the day they come back and turn the black light on and show you where you touched and the germs had traveled and all that stuff?
Nope, never seen it.
They did that to us in high school, or junior high, science class, and showed us how germs travel. And I guess it must have been biology, I guess. But anyway, boy, you would not believe one person, just one person with that stuff on their hands, where everywhere they touched, anybody they touched, they rubbed their nose, their face would be covered, their clothes would be covered, all their books, your books, their books. And then you touch where they touch and you transfer it. A real learning experience.
Oh, they're everywhere. Can't get away from them.
Well, it's like this COVID stuff. The best thing you could do to prevent yourself from getting sick is keep your hands clean and don't rub your face or eyes. You know, I'm waiting for him to come out with all this hand sanitizer that everybody's
Not
using.
good.
It's not good for you because your body works off of germs. And
You gotta be exposed.
you got to
to
be,
get immune.
to be exposed to be immune. So what's all this super cleanliness going to do to everybody? They're going to come down with everything under the frickin' sun at the drop of a hat.
Well, you're a nurse. You know what? I heard explained by a doctor that if every time you had to have a bowel movement, you took a laxative, your bowels would break down and you couldn't take a crap unless you took the laxative.
Muscles would atrophy.
Right. So it's exactly like your immune system.
Right.
If you use this other stuff, your
Of
immune
course, there's probably something in that other stuff too. The
I
hand
mean, all the kids that went out and played with the dirts and hunted worms and
ate worms.
ate worms and who knows what all
Ate shit.
ate wild
You gotta
mulberries
listen to
and
that George Carlin thing sometime. He said he used to swim in the Hudson River.
Yeah.
He's immune to everything.
you know, the people that did that stuff didn't get as sick as often as the ones that were homely, as you said back then. Homely, they were homebodies. You know, they never got out and about and got dirty and played in mud puddles and rode dirt bikes and had dirt clod fights and
That's
went hunting and fishing and
Wading in the creek.
wading in the creeks. Yeah.
Well, guys, I appreciate your watching. I stay home. Appreciate you watching. Appreciate the super chat. That came from somebody. Went away. Oh, there we go. Steve Berry, thank you very much for the super chat. We might be back on later, or myself.
What's that big twin?
Huh?
What's that big twin engine plane?
LA Heat.
LA Heat, yeah. Kevin, get busy on that LA Heat. You can build all sorts of stuff before the engines make it out there to you.
Anyway, next week we'll strip the whole thing and have a good old time. All right, fair winds, tight lines, and the most important thing is,
Go Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon.
let's go, Brandon. See ya.
Bye.